This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, staff writer, fansided.com. I'm joined today by a man who feels it in his fingers and he feels it in his toes. Christmas may be all around us, but as the story goes, the Dallas Cowboys want to keep employing Mike McCarthy. I want to see my beloved Atlanta Falcons make the playoffs. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. Merry mother-loving Christmas. How are you?
Doing good, man. I'm sorry I forgot my Christmas spirit back in New Mexico, but you're looking wonderful this morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We can just blame it on the airlines, like, meet the parents.
That's right. Yeah. I got, the extra luggage that they or the wrong luggage that they send him at his parent or his future in-laws house. That's the bag I brought with me.
So I was trying to remember this. Like, where did like Gaylord Fokker like originally like were they? It was from Detroit, but where were him and Pam living before they went back to like New Jersey?
I believe it's Chicago. I'm not 100%
Yeah,
on that, but I think it's Chicago.
I was sitting there thinking like it's not Detroit, but it's not like they didn't fly from like Philadelphia to New York. I'm like, dude, just take a train, bro.
Like Detroit to Chicago, like that seems like a pretty like standard like transition as an adult. So like I think it tracks. Also, Meet the Parents is such a phenomenal movie. Like we just need to really appreciate what a great film
Yeah,
that is.
and they're really spot on with like the United like of it all and how terrible that is with Chicago. The
You can't say bomb on an airplane.
bomb, 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 bomb. Um, yeah, definitely one of my all-time favorite movies. I think my favorite part was the actor that was in it too. James something Cornwall.
Absolutely. Oh God, I'm totally blanking on his name. It's the plumber actor.
Oh, J
Um,
James Rebhorn.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rebhorn. Golly, I knew you had the James right, but Rebhorn I could not come up with. It's early. This is a much earlier recording time for me.
Yeah, this is like a little bit after 8 on the 23rd, the day before Christmas. This is false.
That's the prequel coming out to the Seth Rogen Christmas movie, the night before the night before.
Yeah, let's put that on Disney Plus for all the dumb Star Wars fans to pay their kids' college tuition on.
That's right. Yeah, just $8 a month. It can be yours.
This robot speaks in different beeps before. That that's where I get lost with it. I'm just like, I mean, in the nerd fandom, I'm more Harry Potter and you're more Lord of the Rings, and I appreciate Star Wars a little bit, but like
I
the
love
whole
Star
like
Wars, but like the people get way too upset about everything that happens with it.
yeah, I know, and it's just like and then what happened? And then
And then
this isn't like Chinese food in a dude, where's my car?
that's right.
And we're not gonna do it in dude, where's it's my car? Dude, where's my car? I can't even talk right now. Dude, where's my car episode? Yeah, but we're gonna be doing a Christmas themed episode. Yes, we are gonna be going with our first and 15 because we clearly false started with some Noel or no L. Was
Noel.
this a win or a loss for these random items? So for these 6 segments we're gonna do, I took care of the first half, Cody took care of the second half, and we have like 4 topics within each to kind of get out of here on to Christmas time and going to movies or following along to whatever's happening with the MLB hot stove. I wanted to stop. I'm just tired of it.
Hey, you know what? You get to escape the hot stove and go to Bucky's later, so that'll be great.
Hang out with a bunch of really depressed Braves fans because they're not doing a damn thing.
I mean, you're doing as much this offseason as Alex Anthopoulos, so just take solace in that.
He's probably really into like the the candied nuts, which are delicious. That's why he hasn't gone back. So, dude, I'm just hanging out at Bucky's. They don't have anything like this in Montreal.
100%. Montreal and Greece could never.
No, they can do shawarma and steaks apparently, but not these candied pecans, almonds, or cashews. So, okay, I'm gonna get like one of each.
As you should. Merry Christmas to you.
Yes. So we're gonna start with this, and I don't know if Jalen Milroe is going to be going to a brewery slash pizza later, but Was this season a win or a loss for Jalen Milroe? He improved, but the team wasn't as good. So Noel or no L.
I'm going Noel with, like it was a win for him this season. And I will say, like, of the four that you listed, I think this was actually the toughest one. Like we're coming off with a real difficult one. But I think like for Jalen Milroe individually, this was definitely a win. Like we saw him take strides. We saw him really benefit from having Kalen DeBoer in the system. We saw him, become more than just a runner who can throw it deep. Like he became more of a complete quarterback. I suspect that if he comes back for another year, we'll continue to see that. And quite frankly, like the lack of or the disappointing year by Alabama standards in terms of team success, it wasn't Jalen Milroe's fault. I think it was a lot of the like I think we underestimated the transition year of it all. Like they lost a lot of talent, and like Kalen DeBoer has the opportunity to fix that. Whether or not he does, I don't know. But like it wasn't Jalen Milroe's fault. The reason they're 9-3 is largely because of how well Jalen
Yeah,
Milroe played and progressed.
100%. I agree with you. This is Noel.
Noel.
At the point where it's like he did take the leap that I said he was going to. The team they finished with the same record that I said that they were going to. They were going to
Mhm.
be 9-3. Just different wins and losses. I had them losing to LSU. They clobbered them, and then they beat Oklahoma, which I didn't see coming at all.
Yeah.
I did project the Tennessee loss, had the Georgia one wrong, but then I also had the Vanderbilt one obviously wrong. But the point is like he progressed up to the point where like he could turn pro. He's probably QB3 if he does come out.
Yeah.
I was looking at this. I think he's slotted right now. One website that I always use for any drafting is NFL Mock Draft Database. I think it's
Mhm.
fantastic. It basically helps me get an idea of where players are going and stuff because it basically curates everything. Mock drafts you right, mock drafts anybody on our .com team network right. It's all over the place. It really helps.
Yeah.
The guy Denny, he does a great job with that website. So
Also a
I think,
funny dude on Twitter. Give him a follow if you don't,
oh
because
yeah,
he
yeah.
he cracks me up.
Yeah, it's a great stuff. Yeah, we're in the season of giving. We're giving respect to Denny and mock draft database. But
That's right.
it's like this year, Jalen Milroe is like, okay, I could leave and be the 21st overall pick by the Rams, or I could come back next year and be the fourth pick by the Titans.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I will say like the one thing that yesterday in the NFL may have changed is now the Raiders are picking six because they decided to win a football game. And like, I wouldn't hate seeing Jalen Milroe go to Las Vegas and potentially, play a year behind Kirk Cousins or someone like that or Sam Darnold. Like that could absolutely work for them.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, why did the Raiders win? I'm like, oh, you played Jacksonville. I'm like, somebody has to win that game. So,
I, someone had to win, but I think we're all losers for watching it happen.
we sure are, and so are the New York Giants.
Yeah, the New York Giants, yes. Good God.
Worst team they've had in 100 years.
Yeah, it's my mom, she likes sports because she, raised me, so she kind of had to, or else we'd have butted heads a lot more than we already did. And she asked me yesterday, who's the worst team in the NFL? And I was like, oh, it's definitely the Giants. And she goes, didn't they just win a Super Bowl? And I was like, yeah, it was like a decade ago, but yeah, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, like the Texas A&M Aggies won national championship, sort of. That was back in like 1936. So was it Noel, excuse me, Noel or Noel with the Texas A&M Aggies? They seemed to have the right head coach. They were fun. They're back to a bowl game, but again, they continue to be the SEC West version of Tennessee, where they just disappoint their families in the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm still going Noel like as a positive for this season because you got away from the toxicity. Like there was nothing like incredibly toxic about the way this season went. And outside of the Auburn game, which you took down to the wire, like you didn't have a loss that you weren't supposed to, really. Like this, we saw how good South Carolina ended up being. Like that loss doesn't look bad. You beat LSU. You put up a fight against the Notre Dame team that we just talked about on Saturday night could still win a national championship. That's not like a loss that you're going to be upset about, even if it was at Kyle Field. And like I think that with Jimbo Fisher, by the end of his tenure, you got to the point where it was a complete unknown week to week what was going to happen with this team. Like you didn't know if they were going to lose to the previous iterations of Vanderbilt. You didn't know if they were going to lose to like a Northern Illinois to go, speaking of Notre Dame, so that's fresh in mind. But like there was so much volatility, and it feels like that volatility has been gone. And so when I'm thinking about what this season meant for Texas A&M, I think it gives them like a stable floor that they had completely lost. Like the floor had fallen out when it came to Jimbo Fisher.
This is very close. I went back and forth on this one. I decided to go with Noel. So it was a win because the floor has been reset. They're an 8-4 team now, not a 4-8 team.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the best thing they did was got rid of Connor Wegman
Hmm.
because it was just holding them back. It's just like false hope living on to whatever the heck's going on before. You keep putting cookies under your tree, but your
Yeah.
tree is outside and you wonder why there's raccoons in your yard.
Just an infestation.
Oh, it's like a kid whose name is John, but they hooked the J the other way. Their sevens look like gammas. Just a really effing stupid kid. It's just like coming home with a Thurman and Merman report card.
That's right.
But you're right in the sense that like all their games that they lost were, except for one, were all against like teams like they probably should have lost to, like Texas A&M lost to Notre Dame. Get that. You lose to South Carolina. That's a rivalry game. That happens. You lose to who else did you lose
You
to?
lost to Texas and Auburn as your other
Yeah.
two. So like
Te-
two of the teams you lost to are national championship contenders. That's
yeah.
gonna happen.
And then Auburn, that was a bad one. That was the other part where I had there. But very, very low key win. But like it's mostly because it's Mike Elko and not Jimbo. We chat you Jimbo for an Elko. That sounds like something you would say like in a dealership. Yeah, I traded my Jimbo for an Elko.
Right down here at Stetson Bennett Chevrolet.
Chevrolet, real fancy nice.
That's right.
Randy Quaid as cousin Eddie Johnson's running the commercials. I don't care that he's like 70. He's doing it.
All right, dude. He'll take any paycheck.
He'll take any paycheck. Okay, moving on to our next one. Noel or Noel for Dave Aranda.
I'm going no L because I have a sneaking suspicion that what we saw this year from Baylor was this year's version of Neil Brown.
Yeah,
And that's not, Neil Brown does not have a job currently, so that kind of tells you what that's where that's trending for Dave Aranda. I will say, like, you got Sawyer Robertson in there, and like it does seem like the quarterback situation might be a little bit more figured out, even though you brought in Daquan Finn. But I also think the fact that the way that that played out, the fact that you brought in Daquan Finn and that wasn't the solution, that when you really start to get it down to it, like I think that's a real indication of where Dave Aranda is as a head coach and running this program right now. I just think he's missing his finger on the pulse right now. I just don't think he knows what direction to take this program in. So like I'm still quite dubious of Baylor moving forward.
I'm right there with you. It's no L. And really, again, your take on like how he misread the quarterback situation. You got one of the best players the Max had in a very long time. Essentially, bench him in favor of Sawyer Robertson. Basically, devalue anything Daquan Finn's bringing to the table. You went 8-4. You took advantage. You played a lot better the second half. I will give you that. But the Big 12 water will eventually find its level. The power void will be filled. Maybe Arizona State will be able to take advantage of it. Maybe Iowa State will be able to. Maybe BYU, Colorado.
Mhm.
But like Baylor will probably pull back a little bit. I mean, I still think they'll be like a bowl caliber team.
Yeah.
Like it'll be essentially like Neil Brown this year. You got a little bit of the Dita Babers dead cat bounce. Is
Yeah.
probably the best.
100%. Absolutely. That's definitely what it feels like. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like I don't see you talk about the power void at the top of the Big 12. Like, I don't see what Baylor did this season. Like, kudos to you. You won 8 games, and like that's far better than I expected you to be this season. Like, we thought Dave Aranda might be one of the first coaches fired this year, but we said the same thing about Neil Brown last year, and like you said, water found its level.
Well, you look at teams behind Baylor and like the Big 12. West Virginia will probably be better eventually under Rich Rod. We suspect that Houston will be better with Willie Fritz and I guess Connor Wegman.
Yeah.
I don't trust UCF. I think they're going to be going out in the desert and getting lost. Um,
Yeah.
they're,
But I mean, you
they're,
also have like Utah. Like I expect Utah will probably find its level when they're not, dealing with the Cam Rising of it all. I suspect
uh,
like I have a
can't,
really hard time believing that Oklahoma State's going winless in the conference again. Like Mike
yeah.
Gundy's track record tells me that's not going to be a consistent thing we're going to see.
And then Kansas will probably be better. I'm thinking like who's going to be at the bottom of the league next year? Probably be Cincinnati, probably UCF. Trying to think who else in that league's Arizona's gonna have a hard time.
Arizona, yeah.
And
Like
then you're
even with
looking,
Fafita coming back, like I just don't see it.
and then you're looking like, okay, who's the fourth team occupying that bottom quadrant? It might be Baylor.
Yeah, it could be. It very well could be.
So yes, Noel for Dave Aranda, the Samurai, and this one's actually really hard too. What about the UCLA Bruins? Noel or Noel?
See, I thought this one was pretty easy for me. I went Noel, and like I think this was a win for the program. I think this was a win to. I mean, we were of the coaching hires from this past cycle. I think we were probably the most critical or most like skeptical of Deshaun Foster, or at least he was in that mix because it felt rushed. They got put in a bad position. That's not a Deshaun Foster thing. It was just, Chip Kelly left late in the process and they had to make a quick move. They hired someone with very little experience. And the buy-in that we saw from UCLA was huge. Like the fact that he won that program over, he had the culture behind him. And they pulled off some wins that I didn't see them competing for, or especially early in the season. And I think the improvement that we saw from this team with a roster that was basically a skeleton crew going out there, I think you have to look at it as a positive. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to turn around and that UCLA is going to be competing for a Big Ten title anytime soon. You're still a long way to go, but I think part of my expectation this season was that UCLA was going to be a dumpster fire, and they clearly weren't that.
I'm just on the other side of it. It's no L, just barely.
Okay.
It's just
Yeah.
barely over there like A&M. My thought is you got the buy-in, from like the former player, the interim of the players coach. You get like a new coordinator because Eric Bieniemy wasn't working. You go get Tino Sinceri, who's like our peer, got his ass kicked there versus Notre Dame in his final game at Indiana. I still have concerns about the UCLA boosters. I think UCLA has the identity. They need to be Wisconsin, which that's the better version of Wisconsin, not this Luke Fickle
Yeah, yeah.
nonsense we're seeing. But
The Paul
like,
Chris version.
yeah, the Paul Chris, the Brett Bielema, the Barry Alvarez level of that. My concern is it might be a chance that Deshaun Foster's Antonio Pierce and the Raiders.
That's definitely fair. Like I can't rule that out. Like the fact that I'm calling this a win, you're right. It is a narrow, like we're right. We're both towing the line on between Noel and Noel. So like I think we're just like barely on both sides of it.
Yeah, like Antonio Pierce is coming back next year. I think that Mark Davis is like, yeah, Tom Telesco's got to basically tear this roster down to the studs.
Mhm.
We're going to give it some time because otherwise this job is way too toxic. Players still seem to like AP. People like Deshaun, so we'll see what happens. But like UCLA again was like the last. They were like, trying to think what the word is. Like they were the most reluctant partner in going to the Big Ten.
Mhm.
They've come out of it okay with a hire that seemed to work out a lot better than we expected,
Yeah.
but there's you're kind of looking at them like, okay, are you going to be like Northwestern or Michigan State? You're better than Purdue. But Purdue's going to be a lot better next year with three of them.
Yeah. I mean, can't be worse, quite frankly.
No, it can't be worse unless you're having Chinese food. Yes, we're moving on to our next topic with some stocking, stock out, or Chinese food. Essentially, it's our buy, sell, or hold.
Mhm.
If you're buying into this, you're stocking. If you're not, you're stock out. And if you don't know and you just want to figure out and have some Chinese food and think about it, that's how it goes. I love how you came up with that. It's like, what's the hold? Like Chinese
Yeah, man.
food.
It's when you're not really, in the mood to celebrate Christmas. The only places open, Chinese food restaurants.
Before we begin, top three favorite Chinese food dishes, and what's the bottom one for you?
So we got to go orange chicken number one. I don't care if it's Panda Express. I don't care if it's a nice Chinese food restaurant. I'm going orange chicken. Love me some sesame chicken. Big fan of the sesame chicken. Also really like the broccoli beef. That's probably my top three right there. That's pretty standard, but I'm a big fan of all those. Hot take, I do not like Kung Pao chicken. I like spicy food. I just do not like whatever spice they put in the Kung Pao chicken. It's just not for me. And like one of the running jokes with me in the NC State podcast is that she went to Trader Joe's and they were out of the frozen orange chicken, which Trader Joe's frozen orange chicken is elite. If you haven't tried it, please go do that. But they were out of it. She goes, so I got you Kung Pao. And I was like, those could not be two more different dishes. That's not at all what I wanted.
You're trying, Natalie.
Yeah, you are trying.
Okay, so number one for me, definitely a hot and sour soup. That's my absolute favorite. I
Mm,
love that stuff. I don't know what's in it. I don't know what parts of a mushroom or meat it is. It's meat and stuff. It's delicious. I love hot and sour soup. I would say I'm also a really big fan of like beef with mixed vegetables. Like if you get the
mm,
beef right, that's tenderized, that's fantastic. Also a really big fan of sweet and sour shrimp.
okay.
I do not like crab rangoons at all.
I was literally about to throw that in at the end, dude. Way too much cream cheese. Way too much cream cheese.
So I'm not a big cheese person in general. Like when I have a bagel, I either do like lox or peanut butter or
Yeah.
bacon. I don't do cream cheese just because I'm me. Because we work at Fan Center, we all have weird food takes apparently.
Yeah,
Uh,
it comes like honestly, I think it comes with the hiring process.
Also my hot take is you don't need ranch or blue cheese, just use Caesar. That's better for wings. I would recommend that.
I don't use any dressing. Nothing. Ranch, blue cheese, nothing. Just give me the wing sauce. They're already sauced. Why do we need another sauce?
No, I know. Like I do the same thing too, but like you want ranch or blue cheese. I'm like I don't really want either. I usually be nice and like, what does this other person want?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Kung Pao chicken. Like first off, most people are most Chinese food does not feature dairy because most they're lactose intolerant for the most
Yeah.
part. So this isn't even a Chinese dish. Like they wouldn't eat this. It's like you want some fried poison.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and speaking of fried poison, let's start with the West Virginia Mountaineers. Are you gonna have some stocking, stock out, or Chinese food?
Oh, dude, give me a double order of orange chicken on this one, man. We're going Chinese food on this one because I share your sentiment that I think they're going to be in a better spot. I do think that Rich Rod was the right hire for them to make in this cycle, but at the same time, I think it might take a little bit of work. I think we might have like a little bit of work to do. And also, like, the game has changed. The game of college football has changed since the last time Rich Rod had success here. So, like, while I'm optimistic and while I like the thought process, I don't have a strong inclination that it's going to work and especially going to work quickly.
Yes, give me some sweet and sour shrimps or whatever it is. This is absolutely Chinese food. This is the epitome of Chinese food. We're optimistic, but it's going to take some time. You also said that like, yeah, you're about what a good 17, 20 years since he was last here. West Virginia was a power in the Big East. He basically replaced his former head coach Don Nehlen as the head
Mhm.
coach, which is probably the greatest head coach in West Virginia history until Rich Rod had that run there with Pat White and Pat McAfee and all the Pats of the world. I think he'll be able to navigate the new Big 12. He seemed to be able to figure it out with CUSA, moving up with Jacksonville State and everything like that. Dealing with similar recruiting issues, like you're going from the sixth biggest program in Alabama to West Virginia, which you basically have to pull people from Ohio and Pittsburgh to get in,
Mhm.
maybe Florida as well. But you also got to deal with the fact that beyond the Big 12 being very turbulent with the power void at the top, where do you fall in this orb of rotating water? Like, where's even
Right.
up in the Big 12?
Yeah.
You also got to heal some scars, and there's definitely some people there in West Virginia who hold on to grudges, and there's some people out there who really hated this hire.
No, 100%. Yeah, they're not gonna like the first sign of trouble could be quite bad for Rich Rod up there in Morgantown.
They lose to Pitt on 9-13,
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be
which
tough.
which I think they're going to.
Yeah, I mean Pitt's returning a good bit of what they had last year, and
Yeah,
early in the
no,
season before attrition started to take place, they were a damn good football team.
I will be touching on Pat Narduzzi, but not in this segment. We're talking about him later.
Yeah, it's not Christmas if you're not talking about Pat Narduzzi.
And it's not Christmas if we're not talking about the Florida Gators. Stocking, stock out, or Chinese food.
I think we got to go stocking on this, man. Like this was pretty easy for me. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. DJ Lagway looks like the real deal, only going to get better in my opinion. And it seems that Billy Napier is capitalizing on that. Whether you talk about NIL, whether you talk about recruiting or the transfer portal, he's getting the guys in place to help keep and build this. And then on top of that, like we talked about it throughout the year, this team played extremely hard for Billy Napier in a situation where it could have gone either way. Like this team could have quit. This team could have been on absolute quit watch, and they went the opposite direction. They played hard and they fought and they got into a bowl game, beat Tulane, beat the piss out of Tulane. Ty Thompson is in the transfer portal. What an audition he put out there. But yeah, it's not. I don't know how you're not high on the future of Florida because I think Billy Napier made a lot of fans in Gainesville towards the end of the season.
And I hate Florida with every fiber of my being.
Yeah.
Also, people from that great state can't drive. They're up here for the holidays. I literally saw somebody by like the Chick-fil-A by my mom's house is in the left turn lane in like a truck, like a Ford F-150, literally go across 3 lanes of traffic, like at a red light, to basically go into like an apartment complex to turn around. So like they literally just kept going. It was like the most unhinged thing I've seen in a car in a very long time. Since the guy driving on his rims, like around this time last year.
I mean, so I'm also used to the people from that state driving, except that's the beautiful part of coming back to North Carolina during the holiday season because they're down in Florida. That's when the octogenarians from Florida are, you know, getting the warm weather, but then during the summer to escape the heat, they come up to North Carolina and it's a brutal scene. They are the worst drivers in the world. There's no question.
They film in Louisa, don't they?
Oh, 100%, man. It's tough.
The line of fastballing your wife. Yeah, that's what they do.
Exactly.
But I go back with Florida. Like they're 8-5. They're a lot better than I thought they'd be. I know beforehand I said like, yeah, Florida's going to beat Georgia in the cocktail party next year. That was maybe a little bit tad premature. I think Stockton's going to be feeling good. Maybe Rashada, maybe whoever Georgia pursues in the portal will be okay. But like I see Florida moving up in the SEC hierarchy. I don't know who the team is that you have them like replacing. I think it's going to be Mizzou.
I like that. I can see that definitely.
Yeah, they beat the piss out of Tulane. Yeah, maybe we should put John Summerall in Tulane there. I'm praising as soon as we start praising him, bringing him into national consciousness. I mean, he's got that crystallized piss going down him. It's like, yeah, it's crystals.
Oh,
Like, no, this is Florida. There's no snow. That's just piss.
that's just piss, man. I'm sorry.
They call that a Bourbon Street night sweat.
That's facts.
My fraternity brother's younger sister went to Tulane and so did my chapter advisor back in the day. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, there was like a beer garden right across from campus. And, like they have like beer gardens on campus. And I'm like, how are you guys still in school? He's like, it's just a different breed of people, man.
Yeah, I mean, would never question that in Louisiana.
It's like the academic standards of Wake Forest with the parting of Arizona State.
What a vibe.
So Georgia, basically. God. Oh yeah, Florida. We're spot on right there. Let's move on to our next one. Speaking of that, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They
Oh,
Dave Clawson resigns, and then where Hank Bachmeyer, Jake Dickert comes in. They went 4-8. They were one of the worst teams in the ACC this year. Stock out of Chinese food.
I'm going Chinese food here as well because, and it's similar to, I'm honestly very similar to the Rich Rod in West Virginia, where I like the hire. I think it was the right hire you had to make in a situation with Dave Clawson stepping away. I do like the fact that Dave Clawson is still going to be involved with the program. But I do wonder if this era of college football with NIL, with the portal, I wonder if Wake Forest is just one of the programs that's destined to fall behind, to kind of go into the Stanford direction that Stanford has gone in over these past few years. Like I worry that Wake Forest is that, and I'm not saying like that's the reason I'm not stock out is I'm leaving room for the fact that I'm wrong. But I do that worry makes me want to hold on it.
Yeah, this is definitely some egg roll Chinese food. I love egg
Yeah,
rolls.
yeah.
You eat more than two, your skin becomes a pizza, and you're in the bathroom for 30 minutes.
Dude, speaking of other Chinese food, I like shrimp spring rolls. Give me all the shrimp spring rolls. I will devour those.
Yes, they get the poo poo platter that has like little coals in the middle that you can like cook it on. It's the
Oh
best.
yeah, that's good
But
stuff.
yes, it's life changing with like the spare ribs and the shrimp and the it's all
Dude,
good.
it's 8:40 a.m. on the East Coast, and I'm wanting to go get some Chinese food now.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna be eating Chinese food again because tonight I'm having a gas station burritos.
Look, man, that's the Chinese food of America.
Amen, man. Enough MSG to desalt a road.
That's right.
So where did I lead with this? This is yeah, I said this is definitely Chinese food because I love the Jake Dickert hire. You're right on though. It's like is Wake Forest just kind of destined to kind of be in this Stanford level because there's only so many players that can kind of fit in there. You wonder what Jake Dickert's identity is going to be taking over. Well, Dave Clawson's like, okay, let's keep people here and redshirt them as long as possible. It's like I don't want you to take a snap until you're 20 years old, son. Is
Yeah.
basically
We want
um,
men playing on this football field.
if you can't have a beer with me, you're not playing for me.
That's right.
Sir, I don't drink. I don't care. You're not playing for me. And then but you got to figure out who you're gonna hit in the portal. I thought like, oh, maybe John Mateer is gonna go there, and then it's like, no, I would have loved it if he went there, but
Hmm.
they got to figure out the new identity there. Then I also kind of figure out like there's again who are you going to definitively be better? I think as long as like Syracuse is really good, that kind of prevents you. Maybe
Hmm.
Boston College pulls back. Maybe Stanford's still down. Maybe Cal pulls back, which I don't think that will happen. You got to find teams that like maybe Virginia Tech pulls back, but Virginia seems like it's trending up a little bit. NC State's got to pull back. You're sitting there and you're like, okay, how many teams am I definitively better in the ACC? And it's like
Not many, bro. Not many.
maybe just Stanford.
Yeah, exactly.
And then also Florida State, like, it's not going to be that bad again. That's mathematically impossible.
Yeah, no, there's no shot.
I'm not going to say that if they go 2-10 next year, I don't know what they're going to do to Mike Norvell. They're going to basically they're going to basically take Gus Malzahn. It's like you need to eat him.
The winner of the Gasparilla Bowl next year will get to make Mike Norvell walk the plank. Like that's what it's gonna be.
And everybody in Tampa cried.
That's right.
And our last one for stocking, stock out, and Chinese food. This one was I'm all over the place. This one, the Michigan State Spartans.
I am as well. I landed on stock out and I was surprised to find myself landing there because that was Jonathan Smith was a hire we were super high on. I think the thing that really has me soured a little bit on Michigan State, even though I like Aiden Childs and I think like getting him this year's experience when you know you weren't really going to go anywhere, I think it was a good thing. And like there is some room for optimism still. But I think the quick emergence of Indiana, the fact that Michigan is not going to be as bad as they were this year, obviously long term, especially after you're bringing in a Bryce Underwood and things are trending in the right direction there. I have a really hard time seeing what power. There's not really a power void for Michigan State to occupy, in my opinion. Like it seems like the construct of what the Big Ten is right now might just oppress what Jonathan Smith and Michigan State are capable of.
I'm right there with you. This was stock out. I'm like last year they were Chinese food, and now it's
Yeah.
stock out. And I think it's you're absolutely right. Indiana being good hurts Michigan State. Illinois being good hurts
Mhm.
Michigan State. Iowa still being Iowa hurts Michigan State. The fact that Rutgers isn't terrible hurts Michigan State. You're looking at who's really bad in the Big Ten. Okay, Purdue's down. Okay, Maryland's down. USC's down. You need to basically have about Northwestern's. You're basically the same pocket of teams with Northwestern and UCLA, and you're like, huh, are we? You have all these resources and everything like that. You don't have the academic standards of UCLA or Northwestern
Yeah.
at all.
No.
I'm also kind of wondering if Jonathan Smith has some remorse leaving. I
Hmm.
kind of wonder if like it's like that one year Dave Clawson went to go be the OC at Tennessee. They got with Cordell Patterson. He got crucified for it. He's like, never again.
Yeah, 100%. No, it and I also like you mentioned some of the programs that are down right now. Like we've already talked about, Purdue is going to be better under Barry Odom. Like I don't know how good what their ceiling is, but they're going to be better. Washington's going to be better. I suspect that USC will probably be better. It may not be immediate. It might not be until they get rid of Lincoln Riley, but like they are going to like we know the potential of USC. And so like as these teams improve, someone's going to get worse. And like Michigan State, as of right now, could be that program.
Yeah, and then you look at Northwestern. It's like they're going to finally be playing in a stadium soon. They'll give David Brown a chance.
Yeah.
They also landed up Preston Stone in the portal. I like that a lot.
I do. Yeah, he seems like the embodiment of a Northwestern quarterback.
God, Trevor Simeon of the world, the Mike Kafka.
Exactly. Going to be a backup in the NFL for like 9 years.
My favorite Northwestern quarterback of all time. You guys remember dudes like Kane Coulter. That guy could throw a
Oh
football
my
from the computer screen.
yes. He was the Ian Book you had at home.
um, and I don't necessarily know if I want an Ian Book under the Christmas tree, but maybe I want Cole or Cole. Yes, we're moving on to Cole or Cole. So we're going to be handing out presents to four coaches. If they were a good boy this year, that sounds so creepy. They're going to get Cole the Ock. They're either going to get like a figurine, a doll, the actual charred beast himself, played by Steve-O. Yeah, dude.
That's
Or they're
right.
or they're going to be getting stuff that we mined in Homer Hickam.
Mhm.
So, and again, last year, like remember last year we said Davis when he actually wanted Cole and it was fuel for his fire. That
That's right. Yes.
Okay, so let's start with this. Cole or Cole for Boston College head coach Bill O'Brien?
Oh, dude, he's gonna love his new Koliak. Like, I think you gotta love it. Like, I think Bill O'Brien and like Boston College didn't have like a tremendous year or anything like that. But you mentioned them pulling back like not too long ago in the previous segment, and like I have a hard time seeing that. I think Bill O'Brien's a damn good coach. I think Bill O'Brien has done a really good job of kind of just finding like like a steadiness that Boston College sort of lacked under previous regimes. And like I think that what we're gonna have here is Boston College may not have the same pop years that they had under Hafley, under Adazio, in previous regimes, but I think that they're going to be going to a bowl game every year. And like at Boston College, that should be your goal. You're not like you don't have aspirations of winning the ACC championship. Like that's a dream, but like that's not really like a realistic expectation consistently for Boston College. And I think like being in that 6 to 8 win range pretty consistently, I think Bill O'Brien has already proven he's capable of doing that.
It's going to be a long time before Marshall or Johnny Ryan come to BC.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
One of them is going to be a really good quarterback, and the other one's going to be the other Hasselbeck brother. That's how that's going to go.
There's always a Hasselbeck. You never know where it's coming from.
Also put Matt Ryan in the Hall of Fame. It's unbelievable. Just like seeing like finally with Penix, it's like he was so good for so long. We didn't appreciate him enough.
100%. Yeah. That's what a full season of Kirk will do to a man.
Kirk was good. He just his leg doesn't work anymore. Um, but I'm sitting here thinking about this. I was originally going to go like a lump of coal for Bill O'Brien, but nah. No, I think Cole the Ock is exactly coming over there for one reason and one reason low. I don't know who the guy who's replacing Thomas Castellanos is. Do you remember who the quarterback is?
It's Grayson something. I'm doing great with remembering first names these days. Grayson James. I got it. Yeah, but I'm on a run of really not remembering last names like at all.
No, we're doing good. We're learning to pronounce last names a little bit better. Like you've almost got Nico down. You're,
I've
you're
got
really close.
Nico, but my boy Ken out there at San Jose State, it's just not happening.
No, we know it's Castellanos, not Castellanos, because
Yes.
it's different. When you're from the South, there's no Y's. It's two L's, son. You
That's
taking them,
right.
boy. Taking them, boy.
We pronounce the letters, Brewy.
I want to see Thomas Castellanos show up to FSU wearing a Punisher shirt like my coach Chucky, whose last name was that, coaching third
Yes.
base,
Yes.
building up sound systems for guys who play for the Falcons. That's how he made all his money. He made so much money.
It's incredible.
And you're getting a new home theater, John Abraham.
That's right.
But it's Cole the Ock for one reason and one reason alone. Cole the Ock is showing up. It's an oversized Cole the Ock. He's played by one of Bill O'Brien's most famous players from the Houston Texans days. He's got a little overalls, a cowboy boots, looking like a baby. It's Vince Wilfork and a Cole the Ock
Yeah,
suit.
yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's one of the top five moments of television of all time.
I mean, just an incredible human being and specimen.
And just like you think Bill O'Brien's not is like too serious, he looks over there, he thinks it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
100%.
Ben Jones goes up just like, you gotta wear that.
You gotta wear that, boy.
I totally forgot that Ben Jones recently retired. One of I guess the two guys who I went to Georgia with of note, Ben Jones and AJ Green, they're done.
Pour one out.
The AFC will do that to you.
It's a hard life in the AFC.
So we got Bill O'Brien's getting a charred penguin costume. What about Pat Narduzzi?
I'm giving him Cole, like we mined it in Homer Hickam, and it's not for the season that Pitt had. It's very much in the the Dabo era, or in the Dabo vein of I think he just wants Cole, and so like because it was a much better season for Pitt than we thought it was going to be. It did kind of tail off though, and so I think I can justify it that because you had the top end of the roster, but the depth at Pitt was a little bit lacking. Things kind of got off the rails there a little bit.
Yeah, we have the Bronco Mendenhall School of Survival, and we have the and we have Narduzzi Land.
Yeah, Narduzzi Land is basically the mines at Homer Hickam, man.
Yeah, like he had to be more appreciative of the coal that was mined there. Also, he's out there as Mr. Rogers cardigan sweater, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not taking this rain-soaked charred penguin costume. Give me some coal so I can keep my dogs and my kids outside warm."
That's right.
Are you a part of the Clean Plater Club, Eli?
Of course he is.
You want a treat? You want a good boy? Gentle, gentle, gentle. Got to say that for Izzy because she gets really excited when you give her treats.
I have one of those back in New Mexico. Good old Remus.
Remus, Remus. Every dog has their quirks, dude. They
Oh,
all do.
100%.
What's like the tree? What's the trigger word to get him to listen to you, if there is
Uh,
one?
I was just about to say, I don't know if there is one, man. Like it, the worst part about Remus, and like I love him to death, and more like the most personality I could possibly imagine in a dog is he's too smart for his own good because he's a little a-hole about everything, and so like you can get his attention with eat or food or treat, but then you can see him processing whether or not he thinks that's worth it or not to stop what he's doing.
Izzy's word is Izzy. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? And
That works for me too, in case you were
yeah,
curious.
and Benji is. Do you want to go on a ride?
Oh, right. That's a good one.
He likes the truck. The 100-pound horse dog, likes to stand up in the console and like look out there. Hates the sedan, but loves the Toyota Tundra.
Huron's, in case we were curious, is mom. He loves his mama. He loves his mama. And it's Huron, do you want to go see mom? And he'll stop whatever he's doing to go see mom.
Izzy, you want to go see Uncle Benji?
Eh,
Yes. That she knows what
yeah.
that means. She knows Uncle John and Kevin and Sarah. That's her words.
There we go.
So yeah, Pat Narduzzi is getting a lump of coal. Matt Rule, coal or coal.
Oh, dude, that's Cole. He's getting a big lump. Honestly, he might get like the full bag of Cole. Like we're going with that because this was supposed to be with Dylan Raiola coming into the program. Like you were supposed to get things going, and early on, it looked like we were getting there. And in a much more brutal way than Narduzzi and Pitt kind of falling off. Like Nebraska didn't have the attrition and the injuries that Pitt had to endure towards the end of the season, and it seemed like Matt Rule kind of got in his own head, kind of bought into his own hype a little bit, and Nebraska had a really hard time getting into bowl eligibility. They got it done, which, hats off. And like, I still think long term, I'm optimistic about Matt Rule at Nebraska, but this season was not what I thought it was going to be.
Oh, no question. This is the most coal I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
give him like a sack of coal, like bars of soaps and battery, and just beat the S out of him. So this is a guy who played at Penn State thinking he's like, really tough and everything like that. And LeVar Arrington just sunned him the whole time in practice.
Right. 100%.
He's such a proud papa right now with Abdul Carter.
Oh,
It's
yeah, absolutely.
And then he goes to Temple Tough being Temple Tough, but he's got like the like Burger King hands. He's just the softest hands ever. And
Yes.
since Matt Rule is the type of guy who just sucks all the oxygen out of the room, how about you go down to the mines and suck in some cold dose, boy?
Yeah, get the black lung like a real man.
I'm glad that you got like a bowl game, but it's like I'm trying to figure this out. It's like Bart Simpson passing a class or Billy Madison passing the third grade. Does David Essex come to your birthday party?
I'm the smartest man alive.
Billy passed the third grade. Rock on.
Oh, what a glorious day.
uh Veronica Vaughn, I forget what her name is. It's Bridget something, but I think she was married to Pete Sampras.
Oh, okay. That's dope.
Just 90s excellence.
Yeah, I mean, the 90s child in me is very happy now.
Pete Sampras. So like if you would have like actors or people playing like different tennis players, so Pete Sampras, Norm Macdonald.
Oh, so either Norm Macdonald or if we want to go more modern, Andrew Garfield cut the hair a little bit. Andrew Garfield, Pete Sampras, that's working for sure.
And then Andre Agassi back in the day, that'd be Johnny Depp.
Oh, 100%.
And if you want to go like modern now, Harry Styles, just do it. It's just
It would be incredible.
we've seen Richie Tannenbaum as the Bjorn Borg you have at home.
That's right.
And finally, for our last one for Cole or Cole. Let's go to Lance Leipold. Is he going to get some Cole or Cole?
I'm gonna go Kolbiak, and that's just because like I think that Kansas in their current state under Lance Leipold, I think what we saw this year is actually a positive for Kansas where they're never going to be truly awful under Lance Leipold. They might have down years like they did this year, but you also have the opportunity and the upside with what they're capable of doing of being a complete chaos agent. And like obviously this year was a step back, but Kansas being at that level consistently is like a really tough ask. Like that is a program where basketball is always going to be number one. You're always going to be little brother in terms of athletics. And so when you have that, like you're not going to be able to consistently produce 9 and 10 win seasons. But if you can still be a chaos agent and never be a dumpster fire, that's a win for Kansas football. So like I think that Lance Leipold has this program exactly at like the peak of what Kansas football can be.
Yes, Cole the Awk looks like the Jayhawk after spending the year at the bottom of Potter Lake because they didn't play any home games this
That's
year.
right.
I think, losing Andy Koldnicki to Penn State, there was a period of adjustment there for KU. I think they got to figure out the quarterback beyond Jalen Daniels. I was like, I love you, man, but it's Cam Rising. You're done. You're
Hey,
running on
unlike Cam
sawdust.
Rising, he actually plays football still. So
Sure does. And then it's also like you're right. Kansas's bottom hasn't fallen out. Where like even if it hits the fan, they're going to win like 4 or 5 games. But their ceiling is like 10-2. So like they'll make the playoff maybe once under this, and then they'll get their ass kicked like Indiana the rest of
yeah,
the year.
100%. Absolutely. That's for sure coming if they do get in the playoff.
So if like Kansas is like the number 11 seed in like 2 years, and they're playing like at assuming the format's still the same way, just because we can't forecast that. So they're the 6th seed. They're playing at
At Penn State, at Ohio State, at or like basically the SEC or Big Ten runner up. That's who
yeah,
you're playing at.
you're playing at LSU. You're playing at Tennessee. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, it's not gonna go well.
No, but yeah, he's definitely getting the Kolyak, and he appreciates it. He doesn't care that he stinks, but he loves him anyway.
That's right. Yeah, that's how the NC State podcast feels about me. I'm pretty sure.
I don't stink. I smell great. And then somebody looks at me and says, "Ah, bah humbug."
That's right.
Not good, bad things we don't like about this past season. This we're on the Cody half of the bracket here. Let's have you lead this. Let's have you lead this part. What do you want to go
Yeah.
with this?
So I think we have to start with something I've already mentioned twice. Kyle Whittingham rug pulling us with Cam Rising again. Dude, it happened again. Last year we went into the season and it was like, oh, can't wait for Cam Rising. Oh, he may or may not play in week one. Turns out he's just not going to play all season. And we get a little taste of Cam Rising early in the season, and then the injury, like literally the exact same thing that we saw in 2023 happened in 2024. And like, I don't know, man. It pisses me off. Like to see Utah kind of rug pull itself, honestly, this time. Like I'm happy that like at least they paid consequences for it this time around.
Oh, no question. Like it's as I'm sitting here and I'm trying to think it through with this. It's like I feel like Charlie Brown again, but I'm Arthur Spooner with like how do they know I only had 3 hairs on my head and they're making fun of my uniform. It's like, well, that was a school uniform. It's like, ah, darn.
Dominoes.
uh I know that he played a similar character in Seinfeld. Arthur Spooner was the best.
He really was.
Arthur
100%.
Arthur Spooner changed the game, and Kyle Whittingham changed the game for Utah as the greatest head coach in that program's history. But the whole Cam Rising thing, the Isaac Wilson thing, put him in an impossible spot. And he transferred. He's like, "Yeah, what are we doing here?" And then he's like, "Oh, I'm coming back." We all thought that like you were in hospice care, but you're still hanging on like Jimmy Carter. Hopefully, you didn't die before this episode ends.
Yeah, oh God, knowing our luck, you probably will.
Oh, that would be the third time. We did it right before Bill Walton, and then right before at least he did it right before Zach Lowe got fired at
Yeah,
ESPN.
we've got a pretty bad track record coming through with that.
It's fine. It's fine. Life happens, We're all here at some point. But yeah, that was not good. And the worst part with Utah, like they go to Morgan Scalley, they're gonna hit bottom, and because BYU is good now.
Yeah, that the BYU brain drain is going to be real at Utah. And speaking of life happening though, my second one, Bah Humbug. and this isn't just because I was egregiously wrong about NC State, but like Grayson McCall was a dude that we loved throughout his time at Coastal Carolina. And like seeing him being basically forced out of the game of football due to injuries, due to concussions, like it just sucks, man. You hate to see that for a player, especially a player who was as much fun as Grayson McCall was. Like, dude was one of the joys of college football. And like, that's not hyperbole. Like, he was one of the reasons that I woke up on Saturdays and I was like, I'm really excited to go watch this man piss teal. And like, it sucks that his career had to end in such disappointing, not disappointing, disappointing is not even the right word. Like, I don't even know what the right word is, but in a fashion that I don't think I would wish on any player, especially one that I like.
Like, what's the worst thing to happen to Brawley ever? I
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
know. I don't know. Like, would the Hurricanes have like a really bad? I think they lost the Stanley Cup to like the Red Wings back in '02. It's
There
probably
we
the
go.
worst. There we go. It's way back there. But we're over there. We're saying like, oh, he's gonna be for years. Like, yeah, I think Grayson McCall is a first round pick. Oh, I think he's gonna be great. Oh, he's going back to Coastal. Oh, he lost his coach. Oh, he's coming to NC State. He's got the mullet back. He's gonna be pissed in teal and red in some really disgusting, unhealthy combination. And he made it to about October, and he's like, yeah, my body's failed me, like Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, we know what broke first, Bane. It was his body.
I've got a take here. This also impacts Carson Beck too. All the quarterbacks that have like calf tat sleeves, like I think it just depletes you of your body like kryptonite. We saw with JT Daniels with his USC calf tat sleeve.
Yeah.
Carson Beck's gonna survive this, and then obviously Grayson McCall's got whatever that is. It's like JT and Grayson like couldn't even. They're like the same people. Like, oh, they're gonna be the number one overall pick. Oh, they're gonna be a first round pick. It's like combined. They played zero snaps of NFL football.
Yeah, I think the lesson really to take away here is keep it above the knee with the tattoos, and that's all you can do in life.
Yeah, no, keep it above the knees, and make sure you tip your amateur tattoo artist or the people who spray paint your shirts in the wings.
That's right. Shouts to Myrtle Beach always. A man who might be in Myrtle Beach sooner than we expect. Lincoln Riley, but humbug, bro. Like, get out of my face. Like, I'll give you all the credit in the world. As I was getting higher and higher on USC in the preseason, you were like, I don't know, man, Lincoln Riley. And like that was basically the gist of your argument was I don't trust Lincoln Riley. And you know what? You were right not to trust Lincoln Riley because this dude does not he is not the second coming of college football god. Like he's just not. And this USC team, it not only is the program coming off of a highly disappointing first season in the Big Ten. Are there any signs that it's going to get better? Because frankly, it looks like it's going to get worse right now.
No, you got Miller Moss transferring to Louisville. Deuce Robinson's in the portal. Zachariah and Zion Branch are in the portal. Bear Alexander left to go reunite with Dan Lanning at Oregon.
His first transfer that actually made some sense. I will give him that credit.
Yeah, I know it's the first time it actually, just he just wants to collect all the jerseys. Also, the fact I saw this thing out there. I forget exactly. I think it was Reddit CFB was saying that like when Ohio when Oregon plays Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, like I didn't know this prior to like the 1970s. They weren't the Oregon Ducks. They were the Oregon Webfoots,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which is like not actually like a duck. It's like a spin the northwestern equivalent of like a Tar Heel and some
Yeah.
I tried reading about that. It was late, but they had like the webfoot look. It looks like the Michigan Wolverines cost uniform. So
Incredible stuff.
they should wear that here. But yeah, Lincoln Riley. I have not. I have so much hate in my heart for that man. Just a guy who thinks he hit a home run, but didn't even tie his cleats.
Yeah, he thought he was born on third base, and turns out he's on a basketball court. That's what it feels like.
Like, I mean, I've been out on him since he lost to Georgia in the Rose Bowl at 17. It's like
Mhm.
you should have won that game and you lost. And you kept getting the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again. And then it's like, you can't like keep lateraling it back. This isn't rugby. Eventually, like there are like you have to make forward progress. And it's just you've become the most passive human being alive, like SpongeBob in that one episode where you can't be assertive.
Yeah, like it's at a certain point, like the amount of Heisman trophies that you've helped collect for your quarterbacks don't matter if you don't win games and you aren't taking like your programs to the next level. Like Heisman trophies are great And it's, hats off to him for helping out quarterbacks A, B, C, and D to this point. But like at a certain point, win the damn game. That's where I'm at with that.
Hottest take of all time. I don't care about MVPs or Heisman trophies, just win championships. I
Exactly.
mean, okay, I'm 35 years old. I've seen two Georgia players in my lifetime make it as a finalist. Stetson Bennett 2 years ago, and God, what was it? Garrison Hurst back in '92, and
Yeah.
neither of them won. Won what? Georgia's won four national championships. It's just like all these Heisman's, like Travis Hunter didn't even make the playoff. Like
Hmm.
I think it was like the other finalists are still like in it, I think. Is that
Cam
right?
Ward, not.
No, that's
Yeah.
wrong. Whatever. But Ashton Jeanty and Dylan Gabriel is still playing for
Yeah.
something. And it's
100%.
like MVP awards. Oh, let's give Andre Dawson it because he had like the best years. The Cubs won 40 games. I don't care. Like
Yeah,
it's
Lamar.
it's
I mean, go to the NFL. Lamar Jackson. What has he won in the playoffs? Nothing to this point. I love, and like that's not even a shot at Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson, but like he hasn't won anything. Josh Allen's probably going to win the MVP this year. What did the Bills won? Nothing. So like I'm coming around on there. Maybe it's like a mid-30s thing where that mindset changes a little bit.
I mean, Matt Ryan won MVP. Steve McNair won MVP. Boomer Esiason won MVP. Ken Anderson MVP. Are we sure all four of them are going to end up in Canada at some point? I would hope so, but
Yeah, we
probably
hope.
not. But probably not. McNair's not going to see it. Ken Anderson's running out of time, and Boomer's is not young either.
That's right, 100%. And speaking of guys who are probably going to end up in some sort of Hall of Fame, but not for this season, that's our boy Mike Gundy. He of getting headbutted by a cattle fame. Bro, what the hell happened in Stillwater this year? I can't like. We talked about Oklahoma State coming into this year as, we've talked about it already on this episode, the power void at the top of the Big 12, like with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, who's going to do it? And like Oklahoma State seemed like one of the prime candidates to be able to do that because Oklahoma State's been good for so long. And this was an abject disaster. And it's not for like there was something to do with the talent level that they had there. Alan Bowman at quarterback certainly didn't help the thing, but like you had Ollie Gordon, who was a dark horse Heisman candidate a year ago, and he goes out there and he can't run the ball for the first like 8 games of the season. He's averaging like 4 yards a carry. Like it was an abject disaster, and like quite frankly, one that feels like it comes down on Mike Gundy.
Yeah, they're only as good as their defensive coordinator. Like they had some success that 1 year with Derek Mason, and then obviously had a lot of success there with Jim Knowles, where they're a yard away from making the playoff. Like
Hey, you might be able to get Derek Mason back pretty soon because MTSU's in a bad spot.
he just wants to be near Nashville in the sickos mode.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes. Mike Smith and Brian Billick need to run MTSU. I want that so bad.
That'd be sick.
Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders.
The Blue Raiders.
Smitty would like get them like 8 wins, and they'd be like, I would love that more than anything world. But God, I wish that man got another opportunity to be a head coach. 8 hour needed for him with the Falcons.
No,
Best coach in
100%.
franchise history.
Absolutely, dude.
But yeah, God, I'm trying to think what my next thought was with this. Yeah, Mike Gundy, like you have the team Blue Pickens trust. You were in the Big 12 championship game a year ago. Texas is gone. Logic prevails. It's like you should be winning this. I mean, I had them finishing third in the Big 12 this past year. They finished in dead effing last.
Yeah, I mean, literally didn't win a game. Like, that's not hyperbole. They did not win a Big 12 game.
I think we just need to brand Mike Gundy. Just brand him just like a cattle. Just
The cow tried. The cow tried to fight back.
you know, again, Gators hibernating. Gator. It's like the people who have like giant lizards as pets in like the fall in Florida. They get out of their cage. It drips down to 50 degrees, and they got to warm them up because they can't handle it. So they they
Yeah.
fall they're falling out of the trees like leaves.
And you know what Gator looked at Mike Gundy this season? You know what he said to, Papa Gundy? He looked at him and he said, the little lights aren't twinkling, Clark. And so we're going to go to our next segment, which is things that are not as good as they appear upon further inspection. And we're going to start with the guy who we may have crowned a little too soon, and that's our boy whose last name we're getting to be able to say, Nico Iamaleava, at the Tennessee quarterback.
So
And
close, so
yeah,
close.
I'm getting there. I can't. I'm not even gonna try again. But we thought Nico was going to come into the season and kind of give us what we saw in 2022 with Hendon Hooker, like kind of really elevate this thing. And frankly, a lot of the time in the SEC, the moment looked too big for him. He looked like I don't know, man. He just looked like a Walmart version of Hendon Hooker, if we're being honest.
Yes, I know this is probably spoiling here, but I'm like, he's got some DJU tendencies about him.
Yeah.
It's really frightening.
Yeah, it's not like I do think that there are positive signs. I mentioned on Saturday night, like I do think the fact that Tennessee did not really have any difference makers at wide receiver definitely did not help a young quarterback out. Like we saw Carson Beck, who has far more experience than Nico, at times struggle with the fact that Georgia's wide receivers weren't playing up to their potential. So like I think we sometimes underestimate the impact that the wide receiver room can have on a quarterback. But at the same time, like with the way that Nico was touted and with the, with the reported amount of NIL money that Tennessee is paying him, you would have expected a little bit better results than what we got.
I mean, he actually runs, whereas DJU just fear pays in the backfield. He just
Yes.
doesn't have any awareness of what's going on. It's like me doing karate. I was going to spar class. I just get punched in the face, just like throwing. I mean, I didn't find the Buhler rage until I was 22 years old. So eventually it found me. It was a
It
late
always
bloomer.
does.
But anyway, like Nico, I had him like as like the Heisman runner up, dude.
Mhm.
I did have Tennessee making the playoffs, so I feel good about that. But it wasn't. I thought it was because of Nico. It was actually Tim Banks' defense that couldn't prop up Nico anymore and just got shredded like chicken in a Mexican restaurant by Will Howard. He's like, "Man, I want some quesadillas."
Quesadillas. He pronounces the L's in quesadilla, brother.
Quesadillas, guacamole.
Guacamole and jalapenos, please. No, I like the spice. Give me the jalapenos.
Can you put some fried jewels on the side?
Oh, we love the fragile.
If put all together, we get a fajita.
Oh God. The vagina. You know who probably says vagina as well as DJU because his brains are awful. I'm old enough to remember a time in August when you and I talked ourselves into DJU being a really good idea for Florida State. That was a thing that we talked about. Yeah, Florida State was probably going to take a little step back, but DJU seemed like the perfect stopgap to like maintain. That was wrong. It could not have been more wrong. The lights weren't twinkling at all. The light went out in DJU's eyes a long time ago. My God, Florida State, what are we doing?
It's like the meme with like the little dog in the back, or it's Elmo, and then it's just like an atomic bomb going on in the
Yeah,
background.
exactly.
And you think like you're fighting some like truly horrible oppressive dictatorship across the pond. In reality, you're just playing Boston College.
Yeah, exactly. Chestnut Hill's a war zone, man.
Oh God, it's the Battle of the Bulge of Massachusetts.
That's right.
It's not Bunker Hill, dude. It's Chestnut Hill. It shouldn't be this difficult.
The annals of history actually got that wrong. It was the Battle of Chestnut Hill for sure.
Uh, what's sadder, DJU or Alan Bowman declaring for the draft?
It's got to be DJU because like Alan Bowman at least did stuff. Like it wasn't good stuff, but he did it. And DJU, like you got benched, man. Like you got benched for when Florida State did not have other options.
And Alan Bowman will be in a quarterback room for like 2 years, like Dylan Thompson leaving South Carolina.
I fully believe that I think Alan Bowman might actually be a smart player who's just not that good at football. He just doesn't have the talent. Like if Alan Bowman's a coach in 10 years, would not surprise me at all. Yeah, I mean, he's already got a ton of experience under his belt. He's seen a lot of footballs, but like he seems like the type of guy who will be in a quarterback room in some capacity for a long time.
He's going to be on a Josh McCown's staff, just getting matching skin fades.
Did you see Alan Bowman's reaction to like there was like a satire tweet going around that was like Alan Bowman's like looking for his eighth year of eligibility, and he went on Twitter and quote tweeted it and said he was like, "I think seven was enough," and I'm like, you know what? Hats off for your self awareness with that, man.
Yeah, I mean, like you owe it to yourself. You have an opportunity to come back. Your team had a really good year. You played really good 2 years ago with
Mhm.
Ollie Gore, just didn't work out
Yeah.
because Gundy Gator's mom.
Ga- Gator's mom, and the potential.
Gunners.
Have we ruled out the fact that Gundy just got a concussion from that cow and never really recovered? We didn't go through the protocol.
uh, that could be a thing. He keeps calling Gator Gunner and Gunner Gator, and then Gage is over there. What about me? He's like, you're a tree boy.
You- you-
Since when can trees talk?
This isn't Lord of the Rings, man. This is not an ant.
Or Pocahontas? Either way.
Okay, yeah. It's been a minute since I've seen Pocahontas. Maybe I need to turn that on. Good Christmas movie for us
Uh,
all.
let's watch this now. Seminal movie from our childhood in the 90s. We'll see it. How culturally insensitive is it now?
It's always a fun game to play. 90s movies and the cultural insensitivity. Speaking of cultural insensitivity, though, let's go to Brian Kelly on LSU because not exactly the most sensitive man. And the lights weren't twinkling, Clark, and Brian Kelly's pop year didn't pop this year, Clark. Like it's man, I came away from this year and like I'm still a big Garrett Nussmeier guy. I think that LSU has a lot of really good parts. I think Blake Baker actually did improve this defense. This defense wasn't a dumpster fire that it was a year ago. It wasn't good, but it wasn't a dumpster fire. And I think the reason it wasn't good comes down to Brian Kelly. It seems like the bill of goods that he promised LSU when he came over from Notre Dame might be bad, quite frankly.
It's the Music Man, just trying to.
Yeah, Gary, Indiana, baby.
That's where it is, right?
Oh,
You
dude,
watch the.
I know musicals. I was a theater kid. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I played one of the 76 trombones in the big parade. I played one of
Oh,
the. Yes. Brigadoon probably watched that a bunch too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man.
I was thinking about this with Nussmeier. Like we always say, like, oh, it's gonna be him and Aller as like the two quarterbacks next year. I've got Aller like one by like a country mile. Like
Yeah.
I love Nussmeier's talent, but I also kind of feel like make it happen, boy. Make it happen, man. Make it happen. Like, your dad played for the Saints. Your dad's a coordinator. You've been groomed for this your whole life. You never had fast food before. You probably have. You're not a Todd Marinovich or a Connor Bedard, but either way.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I think one of the things that I have been thinking about, and I thought about it yesterday as I was watching, the NFL slate, like you look at Jaden Daniels, who obviously won a Heisman Trophy last year. So, like, it's not like he had a bad time at LSU or like really struggled all that much, but LSU was still bad with him. And he comes to the NFL and just immediately has monumental success. And, a lot of that credit early in the season went to Cliff Kingsbury. I'm old enough to know that you don't credit Cliff Kingsbury with anything. I think a lot of it has to do with Jaden Daniels just being that damn good. And so, like, I think Nussmeier, obviously a different player, but like, I think we could see something similar from him in the NFL, like where he gets out of whatever cultural or mind, like whatever cultural suck that Brian Kelly currently has at LSU, and he elevates even further.
Yeah, I got to say some things about Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury and Jane Daniels tomorrow on the Blog and Dirty preview episode for Falcons Commanders on Sunday Night Football. I'm going to be flying solo like a cup. That's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be doing it here in this room, maybe with a little bit of glare, and definitely not the Santa hat on. As soon as I've been putting this hat on there, I've just been like channeling my inner Santa. Like, my voice isn't deep enough, but I keep saying the word boy because I feel like there's a boy in my lap.
Oh, ho, ho, boy.
But yeah, the Brian Kelly pop year and everything like that. This was the year it's supposed to happen, and yeah.
Spe-
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of things that didn't happen, and this is kind of the only mild crossover that we have of any of these. We were very meticulous with this, but we talked about Matt Rule. I think that one of the reasons Matt Rule struggled is that Timu Mahomes, old Dylan Raiola out there in Lincoln, Nebraska. We sure he's good? We sure he's the second coming? We sure he's the 5-star, can do it all, can save the program? Because the talent's clearly there, but it seems like he's just trying to cosplay Patrick Mahomes out there and not actually be a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's out there looking like thinking he's looking like Patrick Mahomes, but he's looking more like Spencer Sanders, just like
Yeah.
putting like doing like no prep, like Tony Romo levels of prep.
Mhm.
That's reached levels of consciousness too. It's gonna bring this up on the show. So And my mom was like watching the CBS game. She's like, "There's one guy over there who's a professional, and there's this one guy who's an ass clown, basically."
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot. One of them has been professional for a very long time, and the other one is not Jim Nance.
So, life imitates art. I've become somewhat of a TikTok superstar
Hmm.
on the Arizona State podcast feed. I talked about this off air. I'm trying to figure out how I could delicately say this. So, um, she wanted me to have like we are talking about this. She's all into like Real Housewives and stuff like that. I don't know if the NC State podcast slaps that doesn't necessarily say like
No,
that's her.
I avoid a
No.
lot of it, thank God.
But like it kind of comes into the conscious. So there's six women or so in like whatever metropolis area they're in. And somehow I came up with this take that like at least three of the women have like one of these three traits. And I did like Tony Romo levels of preparation for it, and it's done like thousands of views on TikTok. Got Rosemary so many likes, it's unbelievable.
Heck yeah.
So essentially, I said of the six women, one of them needs to be a wino,
Hmm.
another one needs to be a psychopath,
Of course.
and I'm just gonna say it. I don't care if we have to censor this out. It has to be a succubus. You need to
Yeah,
have,
no. I don't
yeah.
think we need to censor that out. I mean, if you've watched any like the NC State podcast may not be about it. I've seen the shows and it's accurate.
And then there's like, the three other women who are like trying to do the real thing. They're agents of chaos. And then there's the husbands. That's my follow-up video for this.
Yeah.
You've got one who's a B-list celebrity. That could be a Corey Bierman or whatnot. You got a guy who is a serial cheater. You've got a
Mhm.
soon-to-be felon. You've got a guy that's I'm trying to find the right word for it. It's a three-letter word that I like to throw around here. He's not really an active participant. He's more of an observer.
Yeah, he has a chair for
He
sure.
has a chair in a hotel room.
That's right.
And there's another lady who don't need no man, and
That's
then
right.
that's how this goes. So yeah, to bring it all back home, just Timu Solani, Patrick Mahomes, Raiola the fourth.
That's
Uh, just I don't even think he's partying like Johnny Manziel. He's just out there, just pretending it's still high school. Just putting the fact he's returning to school, realizing for the first time, like, oh, I have to actually have, there's consequences for me being an ass.
Yeah,
Like,
100%. Going back to school, and I wonder what Johnny Manziel is going to be doing on New Year's Eve because as is the post-Christmas world, we're getting into the post-Christmas of this episode. We're going to put out some New Year's resolutions with, so you say you want a New Year's resolution. Well, you know. And we got four topics here that I came up with some New Year's resolutions with. You obviously are going to have some New Year's resolutions. And we're going to start with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Mine's pretty simple, man. Doesn't take a whole lot of explanation. My New Year's resolution for the Alabama Crimson Tide, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, don't lose to Oklahoma. Maybe don't do that. And maybe we won't have to listen to your fan base piss and moan about how you're not in the playoff because you lost to a 6-6 team.
Roll Tide. Yeah, yeah. I was not able to get the timer working here. Yeah, it's all messed up now.
Oh, God.
Uh, but anyway, my New Year's resolution for Kalen DeBoer is he needs to go hunting more, and he needs to like hang out at barbecue restaurants more, like the big place in Tuscaloosa or Birmingham. He just needs to be going doing that, become more of the man of the people, ingratiate himself more with the people of Alabama. Like we know you're a hick from South Dakota. It's okay. Like you
Yeah.
can make it. Nick Saban was from the Holler in West Virginia, is down into Dairy Queen. Like you can, it's okay. Like you can fit in here. They're not gonna like you're not Jet and Pookie. Like you actually like can relate to people.
Yeah, just
Uh,
don't be from Washington. Like that, don't be Washington Kalen DeBoer. Be South Dakota Kalen
yeah, it's just
DeBoer.
the Wisconsin Whitewater. Can't think that's where he was. Sioux Falls. There we go.
Yeah, Sioux Falls. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm getting Kalen DeBoer and Lance Leipold mixed up, but like, yeah, just go out there, go hunting more. Kiss the baby, shake the hands, or instead of shaking the babies, a kiss in the hands. Just become the most Alabama thing ever since Paul Bear Bryant.
Yeah,
That's
like
it.
eat your breakfast at a gas station restaurant, like a normal Southerner. Like that's what we do.
I know. Go down to Mobile, have a nice time.
That's right.
Uh,
Oh God. And so we're gonna go to Ironically, the team that played Alabama in the college football playoff last year obviously is not in the college football playoff this year. That's the Michigan Wolverines. And my another very simple New Year's resolution for them, let's maybe, not do the QB transition thing because the more I think about this Michigan team, they were literally a quarterback away from probably being in the playoff this year. You look at it, Indiana, you look at even Penn State for much of this year. If Michigan had a quarterback, there's a chance this team's going 10-2 and probably being in the college football playoff. And the fact that you completely ignored your options after JJ McCarthy put you in the position that you were in.
I like that a lot. All of mine are just going to be funny, so that's just how
Yeah.
this is
Oh,
going to end
I,
up
I
here.
have I have my kicker here coming at the end. Don't worry.
I need Santa to go to Santa Ona's palatial estate and then take all of his presents away from his kids or his family.
Yeah.
Especially just take away Ward Manuel. He's gumming up everything.
Yeah.
The pressure that he's putting on like Shredmore isn't fair. It just seems like you're trying to transition everything internally, and it's just like, nah, we need to pay this, we need to pay Paradise a bit of a parking lot here.
That's right. That's a big yellow taxi that took him there to Big Blue.
You can have Shredmore to pay you $1.50 to schedule a visit.
100%.
How much does it cost for a Shredmore to do a cameo? $1.50.
That's right. Anything to pay that Bryce Underwood NIL fund.
Sir, that's like 1,000th of your hourly rate. Hey, Paradise, put up a parking
Fucking
lot.
lie. Uh, speaking of a man who is probably just cruising around parking lots in Chapel Hill now, Bill Belichick is somehow the head coach of North Carolina. Still really haven't wrapped my head around that as a North Carolina fan. But we're going to give Bill Belichick a New Year's resolution. And I made mine three words. Let it fly. Just let it fly, Bill, because one thing since he got, ousted from the New England Patriots that I've actually really enjoyed from Bill Belichick, whether it's been on the Manning cast, whether it's been on his numerous podcast appearances, whether it's been in his dating life, dude's just been like letting it fly and like letting it go. And I think it's made Bill Belichick like actually a far more endearing character than he has been in his like in a very long time. And we know the gravitas of the football mind that Bill Belichick could potentially benefit North Carolina. That's not going to work if you're the dude who's, going out there and telling 18-year-olds do your job constantly. No, dude, keep that freewheeling attitude, be happy, and just keep letting it fly. And I think that will actually lead to a lot of success with North Carolina.
I think so too. You're gonna love this. This I just came up with this. I had to fact check this, make sure I'm right. So, he's gonna get a rosebud for Christmas, which is a baguette stick, and he's gonna venture over to his fraternity, Chi Phi's chapter at UNC, and he's gonna be
Mhm.
living in the dorms, hanging out there, partying, going back to like he's 20 years old. Recruiting people. Like he's going to go up to the people at the different chapters across Greek Road, like James Franklin did at Vanderbilt. It's like, hey, this is important. Please come pack it up because I know this is true. He went to my friends at Lambda Chi at Vanderbilt. It's like, yeah, let's go in here and do that. And Bill Belichick is going to become more youthful than Lee Corso was for a long, long time.
A
Like just
long, long time.
so that's what I'm saying. Like he's out there and he's coaching like he's dressing like it's the 70s. He's got like the prop haircut from Stranger Things. He's
Yeah,
got
yeah, 100%.
the boy shorts. He's got like a tank on there. He's that's what he's wearing. Like you think he's wearing the hoodie? He's like, nah, he's dressed like he's a camp counselor on American Summer.
I mean, like, I will say, like, in seriousness, as a North Carolina fan, who this is close to my heart, obviously, but it does seem like the let it fly and like this whole the vibes are pretty high in Chapel Hill right now. Like you've got Bubba Cunningham taking off the sleeves of his suit jacket in the introductory press conference. Like it does seem like the vibes could not possibly be higher around this.
Bill Belichick picks up the phone. He goes, "Hey, Bubba."
Hey Bubba, man, it's a Runza parking lot in Chapel Hill now.
It should be, but it's just a cookout parking lot. What do you think Bill Belichick gets at cookout? If he's ever
Uh,
been.
He's never been, bro. You know he's never been. Actually, you know what? You know what he does? He's been. I take that back. He's the one person in the world who gets the eggnog milkshake. I've never seen anyone order that, but in December and January they serve the eggnog milkshake, and it's for Bill Belichick exclusively.
He does like the milkshake with peanut M&Ms in there normally. Then
Yeah.
he's like, I want something sweet, but something to also destroy my teeth. But now the eggnog's here. I think he's a hot dog guy to cook out.
I can see that. I mean, who doesn't
Can't
love a
blame.
corn dog out here?
No. Bill Belichick is going to be like the Ebenezer Scrooge. He's gonna turn it around, and also got to make my mom watch Spirited with Will Ferrell and Ryan
I made my
Reynolds.
mom watch Spirited. She quite liked it. So,
Yes.
uh, unfortunately, I've had the worst song from that movie stuck in my head. The View from Here, the reprise that they do. It's been in my head for like a day and a half since we watched it. It's by far the worst song from the movie, and it's killing me.
That's awful. I have the worst song ever. So I finished watching The Good Place. The song that they play in hell is 1877 Cars for Kids.
Oh my God. That's tough.
It's so bad.
And speaking of cars for kids, that's what Deion Sanders is offering in Colorado. So we're gonna finish with our boy Coach Prime out in Boulder and give him a New Year's resolution. And my New Year's resolution for Deion, have the toes that you have, brother. And obviously, that speaks to the toes that he does have. But I think it's also so much of what we saw with Colorado over the past few years has been very Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter centric, as it should be. Those are two, players who are going to be selected in the top five of the NFL draft. You should probably lean on them pretty heavily. But now that those two are going to be out of the program, now that Shiloh Sanders is also out of the program, Daddy Ball is not a thing anymore. This is actually Deion Sanders rolling with what we have. And I think that we're going to see really what Deion Sanders is made of going forward with this. And why I say have the toes that you have, Deion, is look at this situation and look at, okay, you're bringing in a Caden Salter. Have a more run-based offense. Maybe get Pat Shermer out of there or bring someone else in there who doesn't run a pro style offense because you're not going to be able to run a pro style offense. But I think that Deion Sanders is putting the pieces together for Colorado to be sustainable, to step into that power void at the top of the Big 12. But you got to have the toes that you have to be able to do that.
In the words of John Lennon, all right.
That's right.
So I guess my New Year's resolution for Deion Sanders is just two more of everything.
Yeah.
You need to get two more toes, two more wins, two more new sons, two more kids in the portal,
Two more new sons.
two more coordinators, whatever, two more ex-NFL players that want to be there that need to basically graduate from DeVry to work here.
Or the Fighting Phoenixes of Colorado.
Okay, like who's two other like NFL legends who I don't think graduated from college that could be in there like that basically like, oh, I'm 50, I need to figure this out so I can be a coach. Who would be
Lawrence Taylor. And I
uh,
just that was just the first person that I thought of that definitely didn't graduate college.
I don't know if Rob Gronkowski did either.
Yeah, I mean he probably has like an honorary degree, but there's no way that man graduated.
I mean, it's like AJ Hawk. He probably made like a 3.0 all the way through across the board. Just was too busy, man. He's probably close, but like
I saw with AJ Hawk being the guest picker on game day this weekend, I saw someone say that AJ Hawk should have just showed up and let Pat McAfee do his picks while he sat there silently.
AJ Hawk is such a legend. The Easter Island effect.
100%.
Dude, remember Mount FIFO?
Oh, Mount Fife is legendary.
It's AJ Hawk, it's Luke Fickle, it's Mike Vrabel, and Urban Meyer.
Wonderful stuff.
Thank God they don't have a giant mountain range in Ohio because otherwise that thing would look more interesting than a stone mountain. And I'll say that.
Woody Hayes would for sure be up there, which would for sure cause some
Oh,
controversies.
dude, I read about this about Woody Hayes. They were talking about like Woody Hayes with like, keep it in the Woody or whatever it is, was like they were saying like keep the outside noise going. So I read about Woody Hayes and So I know we know he punched the Clemson player, and
Yeah.
they're trying to blame it there on his diabetes because he was low on blood sugar.
Which is and, like not making fun of anyone with diabetes. I understand its seriousness and like, I my heart goes out to anyone who has to deal with it, but that's the funniest excuse I've ever heard in my life.
This was like 1978, so like this is when it happened, right when Clemson's about to like hit its first pantheon under Danny Ford and everything like that. So the AD is like, "Yeah, we're gonna have to fire you. We want you to resign." It's like, well, you better have to fire me because I'm not going. Because there was like they basically met like in a restaurant, like a Denny's, and figured it out. It's like this is back in '78. It was so bad they had to, like let him go immediately.
Sir, this is a Denny's.
And then they hired internally Urban Meyer's hero Earl Bruce
Yes, of course.
and what Zach Smith's beloved grandfather.
Yeah, no shouts to Zach Smith, honestly.
No shouts out here. Did I even say what I was doing with? Oh yeah, I did say what I was doing. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah, two more of everything, baby.
but you get two more Suns, you get two more wins, you get two more ice trophies. You're back in the playoff, and
Mhm.
they're gonna forget all about Bill McCarty, just like Bill McCarty's forgetting all about Bill McCartney.
That's right, 100%.
That was really mean. I'm really sorry. I'm going to hell.
It's all good.
Shout out to his son agent who represents Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
Legend.
got Kirk
Legend.
Cousins the bag.
Speaking of the bag, we got to wrap this thing up there with Santa's Little Helper. This was episode 137 of False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter, or the X or Santa Claus if you want to call me that. You can follow me on Santa Claus. I don't think there's an app for that, but yeah, ho ho ho, Merry
The
Christmas.
Santa flight tracker. You can follow Buell on there.
I'll be sitting in a cul-de-sac in Northwest Georgia and in the Northwest Atlanta suburbs for the next several days. But I will be going north to Calhoun to go to Bucky's, and I'm coming right back.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Bueller118. You can follow the Scrooge of the episode and the man whose stuff got lost in New Mexico, and Cody Williams at the Sizzle 20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Oh my gosh, is it? It's back. I keep thinking there's something in that expired advent calendar that's never expired, but it's a hand. I,
As Deion's toes have taught us, these may expire at some point. But the 5-star reviews, they'll never expire.
no, they'll
Those are
expire.
forever.
Speaking of expiring hands, I came across something on Facebook of like people who like took each other's hands, like in Star Wars. It's just like it's Anakin Skywalker took Luke Skywalker's right hand, and then Anakin Skywalker took both of Count Dooku's hands. It's just like, that's just a little, they lived in a world where like they didn't even have like they essentially lived in an elevated version of Fahrenheit 451 because there's no symbols, there's no they don't read up there, they just vibe.
No, no, yeah, no books. It's all audio books.
Yeah, no, the history. That's his story. No, they have robots, and they don't even have like. How do you do that? They don't even have numbers. Like, how do you have binary code?
I mean, just technology is way too advanced.
I mean, until the day we get to silicon-based life forms.
We're getting close. We already have Antonio's.
We sure do. What do you want to get? What do you want to give Antonio for Christmas?
Um, so I think common sense is probably out of the question, but that would be my first option. But I think I'm gonna get him an air fryer. Just because like I feel like A, good Christmas gift, but B, he's always, he's not a big like I mean, he doesn't really need nutrition to survive, but he really likes to eat. He likes to experience the culture, and the air fryer seems like the best way to do
I appreciate that. I'm actually going to get him a copy of Common Sense, another book that Warren Buffett was talking about, because I tell you, you're not in a lot of movies right now. You're basically hanging out with us, and believe it or not, your money is going to go away at some point. So I'm going to teach you the art of investment, and
that. That's right.
you don't have to be smart to figure this out. You just have to be patient. And he's as impulsive as Jason Mendoza, a dog.
That's right. Actually, that's what I'm gonna get him as a shot caller.
initially I was going to get him a leash. So I mean,
There we go.
I have a song I sing when I walk a dog. It's to the tune of Green Day's "Know Your Enemy." It's called "Do You Know Your Dog." Most of the time they don't.
They do not. No, not at all.
You got any you guys get presents to revisit Huron and stuff for Christmas or little
Oh yeah,
presents?
absolutely. We got them. So we gave them so I could be a part of it before I left New Mexico. We gave them some gingerbread men toys and some new treats and stuff like that. So they're living a good life.
We got Izzy a white paw, like a squeaker
Oh
white
yeah.
claw, and she was loving that. Benji doesn't do toys; he just does treats and mates.
Hey, same here, brother. Same here.
And whether you do meats or treats or whatever you do, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I guess Hanukkah's going on now. I don't
Yeah,
really
it
know.
is. It is 100%.
That completely flew over my head. I've been sleeping in a bed with a dog for 10 days in a row. Like I don't know what's going on anymore.
And Festivus has already passed. So yeah, we're in the thralls of the holiday season.
Kwanzaa's coming up, so is Boxing Day apparently, and
Yeah.
so with New Year's. Also, New Year's Day is gonna be the longest day of my life. I'm gonna be going to the Peach Bowl. Then I'm gonna be as soon as I get back. It says I'm gonna schedule it for Eastern. It might be a little bit later. I'll get here when I get here.
You'll have the toes that you have.
Don't shoot your eye out, kid. And this is Faust.